now you already learned how you will submit, what are the topics and the themes, and this is the time to know how it will be evaluated. And of course, we advise our researchers, the applicants, to know how the proposal will be evaluated, as to have it in mind while drafting the proposal and while forming the consortium, while submitting the proposal. I would like first to thank Ian, because he is the presentation is 90% Ian's preparation, so thank you. The evaluation and selection, the process of evaluation of selection of proposals. First of all, as all the proposal, it goes to the eligibility station, the eligibility check, where we have two eligibility checks. One for the ERANETMED call, and these are the criteria set by the ERANETMED call, specific to this call. And the other eligibility check is the national rules with the, for each funding parties, and this has been covered fully by Maurice, and we will also address it in our presentation now. What are the eligibility checks for the ERANETMED? The eligibility checks, it deals with the how many partners from which country, the deadline, the duration of the proposal, of the project, the submission. Is it submitted before the deadline or by the deadline? All this stuff. So any consortium or proposal should involve at least 3 countries. 3 countries, member of the ERANETMED. One of them should be from MPC and the other one from the member states, which means 2 member states, 1 MPC, 2 MPC, 1 member state, it is fine. The extra is also encouraged, as long as it fits the objective of the call, and it will have a direct impact to the realization of the sought objectives. As has been said during the previous presentation, if partners from countries outside the consortium of ERANETMED, or let's say outside the pool of funding parties, would like to participate, they are more than welcome, but at their own cost. The duration of the proposal should be respecting the rule of 24 to 36 months. It should be written in English, following the structure previously discussed, and submitted with all relevant documents on the system. Okay. After passing the eligibility checks, proposal will go to the next step, which is the national criteria. And for this, we really stress that all researchers or whoever is interested in joining a consortium or applying for this call to contact the ERANETMED contact point or the national contact point at their countries. This training is aiming at raising the awareness of the information multipliers who will be dealing with the researchers. There will be the website, the ERANETMED website, the Facebook page for the ERANETMED. It's a platform for discussion. There will be also publishing for the frequently asked questions by researchers all over the world, so all researchers can see the previously asked questions and the answers to it, which will clarify issues which will help them in submitting the proposal. For the national rules, since morning you've been hearing about the national rules, the national rules. Is it for real? So we have a volunteer from Malta. Elena will explain to us the Maltese rules as an example how the national rules is. What will be included in the national rules, because usually it is case by case. In Egypt we have 2 funding agencies, the STDF and the Academy of Scientific Research. Each of these funding parties, they have their own rules. Sometimes they put the number of proposals, sometimes they put the co-fund, they put the types of purchase for equipment that they can support, whatever. So these are the national rules that we should respect, and once the call is published, there is no negotiation about it because this is the rules. So please, Elena.
Let us start from the overview of the national rules for participation as we prepared them for the Maltese participants. As you can see, we start from introduction, explaining what ERANETMED is. It's never too much to repeat. The introduction, their specifications, and what this call is all about. We specify the scope and focus of ERANETMED. The list of national contact points will be presented in the rules as well. And one of the most important parts of this rule for participation is definitions. Almost every word that we put in these rules for participation will have an explanation. So it's based on our experience because there are sometimes so many difficult explanation, difficult perceptions for words and definitions in the rules that we had to specify them explicitly in ERANETMED rules for participation. Next point is eligibility for participants, and it's split in two parts. General eligibility criteria and eligibility under the state aid regime. Probably this applies for every country. Then in the rules for participation, we specify funding criteria. Again, submission of project proposal to ERANETMED, specified explicitly. It's never too much to repeat this submission process. Project duration is specified, grant value is specified, co-funding mode is specified as well. We actually specify who have to be project contact point and project contact point responsibilities. We specified deliverables, and the next is actions to be funded and list of eligible and ineligible costs. We think it's important that in the rules for participation, you have actually every eligible and ineligible cost specified and mentioned. The next point is evaluation. I think every participant looking at the rules for participation will be interested in the project of evaluation, and we present national evaluation criteria and the scientific evaluation, how it's going to be done. And post-selection process is also specified in our national rules for participation. Then next point is funding, management, and progress monitoring. If someone would like to apply, they will know in advance what they're getting into, what reporting they will have to present. At the national level, we will ask for at least 3 levels of reporting. Every financial move will have to be reported, and at the end, project will be audited. Then we'll request a scientific report and a technical report, which is mostly on the workings of the consortium and how the project was executed, what difficulties the project had to go through. All this reporting is required at the national level. So any Maltese legal entity, Maltese public body, academic, and Maltese private body, as described in these rules for participation, may apply for ERANETMED project and will be eligible for funding, subject to the terms and conditions that's explained in this document. Professional bodies and NGOs should not apply for the activities, should not apply for funding of the activities that they already be doing. This will be considered as a double funding. Maltese private bodies will have to present, together with this application, memorandum of articles of association and audited financial statement for the last 3 fiscal years. So we'll see if the company is in difficulties or in a good financial state. And it will be evaluated even before the submission is done to the ERANETMED call. We even accept applications from the startups, even if your company is just registered, even if it is just registered for the purpose of participating in ERANETMED, it will still be considered. We think that startups are important participants in this call. And at the end, we had to state that in the event that the evaluation may result in too high an exposure risk to the Council, that means Malta Council for Science and Technology, the applicant will no longer be entitled to participate in the project. I can elaborate on this. In Malta, we have a list of projects, list of people who previously have applied for research and innovation funds and had some difficulties reporting, technical reporting, scientific reporting, or even we have questions to the financial reporting. These companies and people are included in non-compliance list, and we give an opportunity for companies and people from this non-compliance list to resolve the problem, to mediate the situation. But still, we had to specify that they can expect us to just drop them from the list of possible participants in ERANETMED. It is important to take into consideration applicants' eligibility under the state aid regime, because in Malta, the state supports enterprises and public bodies by direct funding, and only on one condition: you cannot receive more than 200,000 over 3 years. So before even applying, or even together with the application form, we will request the statement of the minimum state aid regime, saying that you didn't exceed or you're not going to exceed 200,000 of the state aid in the next 3 years. Here we explicitly specify what's single undertaking, what enterprise, what is it enterprise, and what relationship within this enterprise should be. And it is important that the specific sectors who receive a lot of state aid, like agriculture, fisheries, and aquaculture, it is important to note that they are excluded from the minimum state aid regulations. Here we had to mention that this scheme is not available for undertakings in difficulties within the meaning of the community guidelines on state aid. so will not be rescuing any companies in difficulties. So this is the Maltese national rules and criteria for participation.
Thank you, Elena. So, as you can see, it is more or less the constitution of the funding parties. Eligible cost, eligible type of organization, relationship with the funding party, and this to explain to the applicants or to the proposals what are the obligations he will be, he has to commit to when he is participating in the proposal. Back to the rules. These were the eligibility rules. What are the eligibility rules and the national rules? What's next? After passing the eligibility checks, the 2 steps, the proposals are led to the next station, which is the evaluation, the scientific evaluation. The scientific evaluation, or the evaluation of the proposal, involving 4 bodies. For you as information multipliers, as prospect applicants, it is good to know, but it shouldn't affect your proposal preparation. Just to know the system, how it works. We have the Executive Committee of Funding Parties, the ECFP, and those are nominated representatives from the funding parties from the Euro-Mediterranean region. So the balance is ensured between Mediterranean and European funding parties participating in the call. We have the call secretariat previously presented by Marinella. External evaluators, and these are the experts who will evaluate the proposals scientifically, and the review board. How it goes? The evaluation procedures, it goes on 2 steps. First is by the peer reviewing. Proposals are assessed in 3 groups, because we have the themes of the call, the 3, the energy, water, and the nexus. Each group of external evaluator will prepare an evaluation report. So they will do the report, and they will submit it to the review board, and with the ranking for later selection process. Second is the ranking phase, where they will come up with the list of proposals to be funded. Of course, we have a budget line. We have a budget for the call we cannot exceed. However, there will be a list of successful proposals in terms of to be contracted, and another list as a reserve list. In case one of the proposals or any number of proposals cannot fulfill the grant agreement requirements, or did not succeed to finalize it, then we will have the reserve list. The evaluators, which is very important. The evaluators, how these evaluators are selected. The evaluators of the external evaluator group are selected on the basis of their competence, regardless of their age, affiliation, or the country. However, geographical distribution of the evaluators will be ensured. It means that no proposal will be totally evaluated by evaluators from the EU only. There will be a balance between the EU and the Mediterranean. Of course, because the Mediterranean, they know the research landscape in the region more than the EU, and vice versa. And also, it is a Euro-Mediterranean call, so it should be done the evaluation should be addressed in a balanced way. The knowledge and experience in Euro-Mediterranean research collaboration will be considered as an advantage. It's done electronically. When the proposals are submitted, they have keywords like you do in the Horizon 2020 or FP7. These are keywords or the denoting in which field this proposals are categorized. And we have the CVs, and the system do this matching. And there is a step where the funding parties review if the matching is correct or not. But it is not done by purely humans as to eliminate any possible error, bias, whatever. Currently, the responsible body for this step is our German colleague, the DLR. They have a large pool of experts. However, they are encouraging all the partners to provide more experts. So it will get into the pool of evaluators so they can pick from. Given that the experts, the selection of experts, it also, the process verify any and eliminate any possible of conflict of interest due to the affiliation of the expert to the same organization applying for the call. Yes, please.
Just a very quick question. If an expert is nominated to this committee, does it directly eliminate him from applying to the call, or you just make sure he's not evaluating?
You don't nominate the expert for the committee. You nominate the expert for the pool, and then the system,
for the pool.
They generate the names automatically. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, they will not. They will exclude him from the evaluation. But the proposal will go, if you submit a proposal, mm-hmm. and you are an expert, or a colleague of yours is an expert.
Yeah, they will not evaluate that proposal.
They will not ask him to evaluate this proposal.
But they could be evaluators in a different proposal where they're applying in...
This is a detail that I'm not sure of, but I think they can still evaluate. This happened with the FP7, but this is something we need to check.
Okay.
Maybe it's a question that we need to check.
Just to let the people we're nominating know if they're applying for a project, I mean, they can send it to be in the pool if necessary for other calls, but tell them that you will not be evaluating within this call because you're...
Honestly speaking, if you have evaluators, just send them because this database is used for other things, purposes. Okay. So now you're exposing your experts to the evaluation. So this is another gain. So send the CVs. Mm-hmm. Okay, not necessarily they will evaluate in this call, but at least they are into their system.
Great, thank you.
You're most welcome. So the criteria for the evaluators, they should have a management or evaluation of ST projects. They should be aware what is a project, how it is managed. International cooperation in science and technology, development of human resources. Use of the results of research and technological development project, technology transfer and innovation, and for each proposal, at least 3 independent evaluators, of which at least 1 from MPC and 1 from the EU. And this is the balance we are seeking. So we have 3 readings for each proposal, at least. The evaluation criteria, how it is assessed. There are 3 main evaluation criteria. First is scientific or technological excellence with the threshold of 3 out of 5. Quality and efficiency of the implementation and the management, 3 out of 5 as well. And the biggest and the highest score should go to the potential impact. So the threshold of the impact is 4 out of 5. And the minimum aggregated whole score is 10, of course. The funding decision, this is the final step for the evaluation and submission, because later on, Macarena will present the following steps after the evaluation is completed. The end result of the evaluation process is a funding list, a ranking list, where the funding parties, they have a meeting and they go through all the results and decide which one to be funded. All this work is prepared by the call secretariat. They prepare it for the ECFP, the group, the representative of the funding parties, where they check the eligibility of requested funds and return on the estimated national budget for each project based on their own national regulations. After this, the ECFP, they will have a meeting as to decide on the shortlisted plus the reserved list. So the evaluators that do their work, they provide the scores. There is a review board, they review these results, and they come up with list of ranking list, and they provide it to the call secretariat, who convene a meeting with the ECFP to decide on the funded projects and the list of reserve. At least one project per funding party will be funded, which means that no one will say, okay, for instance, Egypt, ASRT, we will not fund any project. At least one funding party should, at least one proposal should be funded by each funding party, given it is a successful one, which means passing the threshold. The communication with the applicants afterwards will be done through the call secretariat. Will they inform the applicants with the result? And then successful applicant will be informed by their respective funding parties regarding the next steps, which is signing the agreement, because they need to sign documents with their funding parties and the different procedures. The coordinator, as explained earlier, they should also prepare for the consortium agreement, and this is very important, and this is something we need to repeat again and again, because this is the contract that governs the relationship between partners. If any problems arise during the implementation of the project, the first thing the coordinator will say, check the consortium agreement, and it should be there. Again, we would like to remind you with the timeline of the call. So the next step after our meeting here is the launch of the call, which is 1st of November. We assume that in all countries we will have different info session for our researchers to raise their awareness about the call, to give them more information on how to apply the rules. For instance, Malta, they are having an event in the event in Malta in when?
It's scheduled on the 6th of November.
6th of November. And Lebanon, they are preparing one. In Egypt, we are preparing at least two. And through the ERANETMED Facebook, I believe all this will be uploaded on the calendar so everyone can follow. Maybe if you know of a researcher in another country interested, you direct them to attend these info days, and also to contact the national contact point for ERANETMED, the national contact point for the contact person for the funding parties, or the Horizon 2020 contact points at their country who will help them. The deadline is the end of January, 31st of January, and we hope that projects will start at February 2016, as we plan for it, and we will make sure that our plan will materialize correctly. Thank you very much. And this is a snapshot from the ERANETMED Facebook page. Please, you are encouraged to visit it, like it, and use it as a platform for discussion regarding the first call for proposal of ERANET. Thank you.
The main mission of the National Research Council in Spain in the ERANET project, one of the main tasks, has been to study the previous steps necessary to get an effective monitoring of the ERANETMED call, and to study the impact assessment. During this first year, we have been working on the previous steps needed for the call monitoring. In this presentation, I'm going to explain you why call monitoring for ERANETMED is needed, which is the background that we have been studying to develop our work, and which is the final result, which is the questionnaires that we have prepared to be distributed between the funding agencies and also the beneficiaries of the project after the evaluation of the projects. So the call monitoring will be implemented following the execution of the joint calls and the evaluation and selection of the project. So if you have seen the scheme that Zainab was showing it to us, the call monitoring will be just at the end of that scheme. And the monitoring activities will target the analyzing of internal call procedures, optimizing call management, implementation of user-friendly systems, and creating a reasonable and attractive funding instrument for the target group. The main objective of this monitoring is to enable an acceleration of internal processes and an efficient use of resources during future calls of the ERANETMED. Taking into account the idiosyncratic characteristic of the Mediterranean and the individual national legislation of the countries participating in this project, the criteria are based on the previous experiences that I will show in a while, identification of potential obstacles, and the potential recommendations of the group of senior officers, former MOCO. So, which is the background? Mainly, we have been studying the results and recommendation of the ERA-Learn project and also other ERANET projects such as mainly ERANET and ERA Plan Genomics. And we have prepared a document, we have discussed it with the ERANETMED consortium, and some of the partners that you see there have given us a feedback, so we have improved our document. So mainly, the main project that has inspired us to prepare this call monitoring has been ERA-Learn, but we have taken into account the Mediterranean context. So we have tried to search for the coherence of the group. We have chosen a reduced and primary group of indicators adapted to the Mediterranean particularities. And we have tried to focus our work to reply, could the information needed by the indicator that we have chosen could be provided by all the participants? So in this way, we arrived to the two questionnaires that we have prepared to implement the call monitoring, one for funding agencies and another one for beneficiaries. The questionnaire for funding agencies is divided into three different parts: call preparation, outputs, evaluation of the evaluation process, and outputs, results of the call, which is also divided into the selection phase, evaluation phase, financial aspects, and consortium. On the other hand, the questionnaire addressed to beneficiary will make a difference between the consortium composition, international collaboration, and the call procedure. So in this case, in this sense, we see, firstly, the questionnaire to be addressed to funding agencies. The indicators are, well, first, the part of call preparation, number of consortium and other members who deployed workforce, number of countries involved, funds committed by participating organizations. Regarding the second part, evaluation process, number of external evaluators, geographical distribution of external evaluators, gender balance, number of members of the review board, their geographical distribution and their gender balance. Regarding the third part, results of the call, firstly, regarding the selection phase, we will ask the funding agencies about the number of participating countries, submit proposals, eligible proposals, number of applicants, number of applicants per theme, and geographical distribution of applicants. About the evaluation phase, we will ask about the number of selected projects, of applicants in the selected projects by country and type, number of projects involving SMEs and large companies, and the success rate. We will also ask about the financial aspects, which were the total project costs, amount of project costs, total financial contribution, average financial contribution, and rate of projects co-funding. Finally, we will ask about the composition of the consortiums, number of partners funded by the call per project, not funded by the call per project, number of countries per project, research organizations, universities, other non-company participants, SMEs, large industries, average applicants per consortium, and average, in the submit proposals and in the funded projects. Finally, we have regarding the questionnaire to be addressed to the beneficiaries of the call is divided into first, well, we will ask about who is the country of the leading organization applying to the ERANETMED call. Then regarding the consortium, we will ask them to indicate the number of partners in the project consortium, country or countries of partners in your project consortium, how many new partners previously unknown they have in the particular consortium. Regarding the international collaboration, we will ask them about that, well, if compared to pure national funding schemes, ERANETMED offers an attractive alternative of setting up transnational collaboration. If compared to other European funding research sources, ERANETMED offers an attractive, an attractive alternative of setting up transnational collaboration. And finally, about the call procedure, we will ask them if the application procedure or workflow was easy to understand and transparent, call website was easy to understand and transparent, guide for proposers was easy to understand and transparent, proposal forms were also easy to understand and transparent, submission of proposals was straight and unbureaucratic, the funding process, contract negotiation, conditions, transfer of the first funding rate was timely and efficient. ERANETMED feedback during the evaluation phase was timely and clear. And interaction with the ERANETMED Secretariat and the national agencies was constructive and efficient. Finally, we will ask them their advice for future ERANETMED calls. So in this case, we will try to improve the second call based on the replies to this questionnaire. We have been asking the ERANETMED consortium and other stakeholders their opinion about these questionnaires because we think it's very important to improve the work of the project for the future calls. So we are still open in case you have any suggestion to any other question to be included in these questionnaires. We are open. Thank you very much.
I have a general comment for the applicants. Don't be too afraid about all these phases, and you must really concentrate on the on your proposals. For the eligibility rules and eligibility checking, very often if you have been in contact with your contact persons in relation with the national guides, we can say in our case 100% of the proposals are eligible. Sometimes you have one which is not eligible because he doesn't follow the rules, but it's very rare. But you have to focus on the evaluation criteria. You have 3 or 4 criteria. You have to focus your proposals on that. And after, of course, the questionnaire is important, but it's a questionnaire to beneficiaries. It means that you need to success before to answer to the questionnaire. And first step is to concentrate on the proposals and write a good proposal.
Thank you, Maurice. And And first, I would like to say thank you to all those who presented this morning. I think a great deal of information has been given to you. We try to keep it simple, but as you can imagine, I mean, having a program with so many partners participating and each having his own national rules, and I mean, to come up with this call, it has been quite difficult until we all agreed and we finally arrived at this stage. So it may seem complicated, but in reality, I mean, it's the terms of reference. There's a document with the terms of reference explaining exactly the call text and all the details that you need to know to participate in the call. I think that at this stage we should turn the floor to the NCPs to see whether there are any observations or any comments that you may have, or maybe something may not be fully clear to you at this stage, or I don't know, you want to ask any questions. So I can open the floor to anyone who wishes to intervene.
Maybe talking a little bit as NCP and a little bit as partner and a little bit of of a number of positions that we've held here. But I think the idea is to sell this program at this point. And you're talking about it being maybe a little bit complicated for the research. And I think when we're looking like we are doing today at all the details of the call, it seems maybe overwhelming, and some of us partners have been involved in more than some cases, so we're more familiar with it. I really want to stress something that Zainab said. It's important for example, a Lebanese researcher to check that they're working with a partner, for example, in France or somewhere that is eligible. But the work from that point on is divided. So the Lebanese researcher will check the eligibility check for Lebanon, and the French researcher will do the eligibility check for his participation in France. So even though it seems like maybe as researchers we look at it and we say, oh, I have to do 10 eligibility checks, the truth is you're doing one for your country. So the process seems complicated, but the actual work is not that. You're checking one national rules for you. You just have to make sure your partners are checking the national rules, I think, for them. So I think that's important.
Just one thing to add, because this is something that I don't think the researcher will realize, and this is very important. It's like a poker game. Let's agree that this is a poker game. You need to identify the winning cards. So by knowing the budget, you will know where the strengths lie in which country, in which field. So we need to play it smart. It is not like a consortium, and we will form a consortium, and we will get into the consortium, and it will end up that we're having 200 consortium, but still the fund for each funding party will be something we need to consider. So as not to create any disappointment for our researchers, we need to play it smart. Contact the national contact points. They have this vision. They can see it. Okay, this is the consortium, fine, but if this is important to have this country, it's better to contact this country. This is important. It's not just forming a consortium, applying for the proposal. We need to have it as the precision of this call as high as possible. So please contact the contact points.
Let me add something. National contact points, they have a responsibility. Because imagine that I write to a national contact point asking if am I eligible. I said yes. And then when we'll go to verify, maybe after the proposal it will be not. it will cause a problem, because if you have your email from your national contact point saying you are eligible, and then you will not be selected because of non-eligibility, you might go to the tribunal, to the court, and say, I need you to pay. So national contact points, they have responsibility to study well the national rules. And I think the ERANETMED contact points, if they are in, for each funding agency, might assist their local applicants to find partnership. I think in order to facilitate, because the national contact point, at this point, maybe they don't have enough contacts with other countries to do the matching and to introduce some partners. The national contact point, their responsibility is to study very well all what have been presented today, the call in general, but they are responsible of the eligibility check at national level. So ERANETMED responsible or partners, please be sure to stay near and to assist the national contact points in responding each time somebody is checking for eligibility, because we might have problems later on if somebody, you would say you are eligible, and then we discover somehow it's not asked. And as Maurice was saying, if in one country you are facing a problem and you will not find a solution, contact other countries that have already experienced with ERANET projects. They can help you. And once we will have this type of exchange of information, please provide us with that, and we'll put it on our Facebook, so it will be as a free as a FAQ. So you can get inspired from other persons' inspiration. It is my suggestion if you agree.
Thank you, Maroon. Elena.
If I understand correctly, on the 1st November, when the call is issued, Ian, as a national contact point for Malta, will receive 289 emails from EU and member states countries asking to find the partners for the project. Am I understanding correctly?
Okay, so I was going to keep this to the very end to make sure I drum it into everyone here. So basically, what we have done as the ERANETMED project team, we have set up a Facebook page, which has been set up by RPF Cyprus. Or we are administrators. Okay, let's be more precise. Do we have the presentation there just to show them the Facebook page on the screen? So we're going to put up the Facebook page on the screen. It's already operational, and I really appeal that if you take nothing from here today, at least you take this Facebook page back home and add as many potential partners or people to this Facebook page. Basically, we set it up with the main aim to try and create a platform where partners from from the EU member states and the MPC countries, here it is, can interact. So it's a kind of interactive platform where you can look for partners, or you can look for maybe a consortium that you would like to join. So basically, it's a very simple tool to use. You just type in that, for example, I am interested in participating in an energy project. Then you might get a private message by someone who's working on such a project, and he tells you, listen, we are working on this project and we're looking for a partner, etc., etc. As you heard from Zainab's presentation, there are certain rules that, for example, you need to have a partner from the EU, you need to have a partner from an MPC. So it's not always easy to really make up your consortium. So this Facebook page is a response to this kind of hurdle that you need to overcome before submitting your proposal. So please make it visible for us. Thank you.
So I would suggest, because till now I think we are 4 people having access to modify on the Facebook page. It's open, so anybody can go there and write. If some countries are interested to be part of the editor, so they can contribute, so they can, instead of sending to us the information of the type of problem and the solution, you can post it by yourself. So it's better to increase the number. I don't want to increase the number of, increase your responsibilities and so on. Okay, but if somebody, till now we have Egypt, Malta and Cyprus asked to be part of the editors, so the contributors. Oh yes. No, I'm saying contributors. I didn't talk about administrator. So if somebody, for instance, Elise, that will be the responsible of the call of ERANETMED, I think let's say our contact person for ERANETMED, the responsible of ERANETMED in Egypt or in France or in Algeria, she or he will write me, said, activate, please, this person to be editor, to contributors to this Facebook page. Okay? Thank you.
If it's possible to divide this Facebook page at least into 3 activities, or I think in every Facebook page you can introduce activities belonging to this Facebook page. So if it is possible, I would introduce these 3 sectors, water, energy, and water energy together. So people will not dive into the ocean of the contacts in one point. At least they will go to the specific area trying to find the contacts.
I will see how it can be done and I will do it. Okay, let me check how it should be done. Because it's not a profile, it's a page. In a profile, you can make groups and so on. Let me check about how is it feasible, okay, and why it would be a good solution. You want to create 3 fora, donc, 1 for water, 1 for energy, 1 for nexus. No.
On the front page, you will see the activities. Like, for example, in Malta Tango Association, they will have on the front page lessons, milongas, and social activities. So you don't skip through the whole page trying to find a lesson.
If somebody has a previous experience how to do it on a page, we'll be more than glad to, okay?
Actually, I use a similar system, but nothing related to projects. So what we do on the page, I don't think I can see it here. On the page, on the right-hand side, normally, where there's the map, do you see the big map? And there are 3 lines there, 3 dots. Normally, if you press on that, it gives you a search facility for that particular page. So you can type in a keyword. For example, if you're looking for energy, you can type in energy, search, and it brings up all the posts related to energy. And or per country, or for example, you want to write Malta, you see whatever has been to refer to Malta, or anything, but it gives you that option. So if this does not work, then there is this option as well. Okay. Marinella?
Yes, since the NCPs are here, first I wanted to ask if you plan to organize info days in your countries. I know that Malta will organize one, and Egypt and Lebanon, because first I think that these info days should maybe have, we can share a common, I don't know, structure, for example, in order to be sure that that you provide the same information, and then, so we can, I don't know, some NCP can, propose a concept for one-page concept for the info day, because we did one in Puglia region, and it was very useful. It was very small day, like 2 hours, but very useful because participants made questions that we weren't able to imagine. So I think that could be nice to have, after each of these events, all the question and answer session, maybe on the website. I think that these events can be advertised, of course, on the website, on the Facebook page. And I also think that maybe these events, these info days or hours, 3 hours, I don't know how the format how can be used to collect potential applicants and be put in synergies with the other info days to create lists of potential matching among participants. So you can distribute, for example, just a simple form, I don't know, and then share it with the other national contact points to see, okay, this research team is interested in this and is looking for this. Maybe we can reflect, since we are all together today, on how to manage this process, because we have not so much time. I think these info days should be organized in the next couple of months maximum, because otherwise it will be useless.
For the info day for Malta, it will be on the 6th of November, and anyone is invited. I mean, if you have anyone to send, you are invited to send them. They will, I mean, just send me an email, and it won't be a problem to include them in the list. So if there are any potential participants who need some training, or, I mean, it's going to be a bit of training, a bit of info day, because we want also to possibly show them how to write the proposal and stuff. So we try to fill up a whole day with activity. So I will upload the agenda possibly tomorrow, because we are finalizing it today, and it will be on the Facebook page.
And send it will be on the website.
On the website too, yes. Are there any more comments or observations?
Yeah, and I think that maybe since you are the first to organize this, you can think to share with the others, okay, the agenda, and maybe to distribute a form, short form maybe to be filled in, or I don't know, try to find a system to start collecting interests to be shared with the other participating countries.
In fact, part of this info day will also include some, I don't know the right word to use, but maybe a bit of pitching. Like we're going to be asking them which areas they are interested in, and we are going to try and connect them to yeah, like matchmaking. So yes, after the event I will be sending the feedback. I wonder if there are any more comments. No? Well, I think a lot has been said, and I mean, by way of conclusion of today, if I can conclude now, yes? Yes? So I have to ask him because here's maybe a comment.
Last question. About eligibility criteria. If I haven't sufficient information to say that or this is eligible to the project, what I should do? If I haven't information.
Send an email to infocalls@eranet.med. So the secretariat of the project concerning the call, and we will address to the right person to give you assistance. No worry.
But just to be as a direct reply, it's your national rules who define the eligibility criteria. The eligibility criteria from the project level, from the ERANET level, is, I mean, having one partner from the north, one from the south, having a minimum of 3 partners. I mean, that's the only eligibility criteria imposed. The rest is all in your national rules. Yes. So basically, it's like everyone is working on his own when it comes to rules. Then the consortium has to be built according to the minimum rules set by ERANETMED, like to have 3 partners, one from the north, one from the south, etc. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. I think by way of a conclusion, a lot has been said, and this is a sort of, as I see it from my personal point of view, if I may share my personal point of view, it's that it's like a test. It's like a test that we are all new in this. It's, for me, I know there was ARIMNet before this, but we as Malta were not involved, and also a few other partners were not involved either. So we see this as a test, and what I can say is that it's true, it's one call. We might have a second one. If not a second one, there are other things which are currently being planned. Like, for example, at the moment, I don't know if any one of you is aware, but there is a lot of work going on for the preparations of an Article 185 for the Mediterranean. It's called the PRIMA initiative. This will open up quite a few opportunities such as this and even bigger. So really, this first call is being seen as a test bed, like to really test the waters to see how things are going in the Mediterranean and where we should focus our efforts. So I would really recommend that we give this call a bit of weight and like show that, listen, there is quite a lot of interest to participate. I think that we have already made enough emphasis on this Facebook page, which I think is important, and also the website eranetmed.eu, where you can find all the information on, even I think the national rules will be uploaded there. So all the information you will find from the website, and even to submit your proposals and to look for the calls, etc. I think from my end, that's it. What I would like to do is just thank our hosts for the excellent organization. We've been here for 3 days, so some of you have been here for 1 day, but what I can say is that it's been a very pleasant 3-4 days, and we really like your hospitality, and thank you for the excellent organization. Also, I would like to thank the coordinators for all the backup work, and also the people assisting from the back scenes. And thank you all for joining us for this event. And let's hope to collaborate further very soon. Thank you.